Come on, in, file in, and keep quiet as you move. Come on. Come on, sit down. Come on. Little bit. Hands out of your trousers. Thank you very much indeed. Come on, you.
Don't smack me, that's it.
In there, for goodness sake. Come on. Slip in. Come on, sit down. That's it. Close the door. Come on, get yourself sat down. Face front. Sit down, Mr. Hayes. Face front. Sit up straight. The problem in society today is there's a lack of discipline. And we're going to sort it out. A little later, we're probably going to discipline a few of these chappies live on television. Yes. No grinning. Don't you look at me like that. Stand up. Stand up. What's wrong with you, boy? Goodness sake. Next time I ask you to move quickly, move quickly. If you speak again, you will be outside, you horrible, squirmy, greasy-haired little git. Roll! Thank you very much indeed. Sorry, let me just take you over here in the corner. We have a fairly rowdy audience in here tonight. We're going to have to be fairly... But because, of course, we're talking about discipline, then we may have to discipline them a little later. And we will spare the rod, spoil the child. The rod will not be spared tonight. And administering the same, Mr. Jerry Hayes, I think. Getting us off to a fun start on tonight's show. Here we are, late tonight. Let's get together and have some entertainment. Only once before has this gentleman appeared on British television, and that was on Opportunity Knocks. And he didn't do terribly well. But never mind, tonight again, following in the footsteps of the great Brian C. Williams. Could this be another such great find? We'll see. Please, will you welcome Ralph Coombs and Charlie?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Very nice to see you. And I brought a little friend along this evening because I know you'd like to see him, wouldn't you?
Yes!
I thought you would,
yes.
So I'll tell you what to do. Would you like to see the ladies and gentlemen Scamp? Because, honestly, they are a very nice little audience. They really are. They're a very nice audience. So, would you like to see them? Pardon? Oh, no, you're not shy. No, you're not. No, you can't be pardoned. No, well, I know. You see, they're all over there. They're waiting to see you. So, would you like to have a look at them, please? Here we are. Look. There we are. You see. There we are, you see, they look Scamp. Scamp, no, look. Would you like to Scamp, would you like to see him do some...
Lovely, aren't you? Oh, God. Get down, Shep.
Get in there.
Sorry. Lovely.
Would you like to see him do some magic? Yeah! Would you? All right, then. OK, fair enough, then. So we'll do some magic for you. Here we go, then. At least I'll try and get him to do some. You'd like to do some, wouldn't you? Yes, of course you would. All right, there we are. Then. And what we'll do now is, you see, Scamp, 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 Scamp. Right, here we go then. There we are. There you go. If I give you this to hold, I'll tell the audience what you're going to do, shall I? Yes, right, there we are then. You hold that like that. There we are. Right, now what we'll do now is, you see, he's going to change the colour of the balloon as you actually want. He's going to change the colour of the balloon as you... Scamp. He's going to change the colour of the balloon. Scamp, look, behave yourself. Look, honestly, Scamp, now look. What are you going to do now? He's going to change the colour of the balloon as you watch now. He's a lovely big balloon there. He's very good at this shit. You want to see him do it. It really is. No, you're not supposed to let it go down like that. Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear. No, there we are. Now, look, honestly, Scamp, no, that is not the correct thing to do. Now, look, I'll blow it up again, shall I? Yes, all right. And then what we're doing... Scamp, behave yourself. Right, there we are then. Now, you hold that again like that. There we go, look. Right, there we are. Right, now, you sure you got that all right? Yes, that's good. Right, now, you won't let it go down this, will you? No. No, don't even... Ah! Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear. Oh. That wasn't funny, was it, ladies and gentlemen? No, it wasn't. No, that's just what I thought. Oh, dear, oh, dear. Yeah, I will. Oh, that was not very good at all. So he's not going to get a bone tonight at all. So honestly, no, he's not going to get a bone at all. You don't think he deserves one, do you? Do you think he deserves a bone? Yes! No, I don't think he does. Not really. He does. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. No, he's not going to get one. No.
Yes, he does.
No, do you think he deserves one?
I do. Yeah, he does.
Oh, all right.
He
So
does.
we'll give him one then,
Yep.
shall we?
Yes,
There we
give
are
him
then.
one.
There we are. There's a bone for you then. There we
Yeah,
are.
let me give it to him. Can I give it to him?
Yes, you can give it to
Yeah.
him. Yes, you can give it to him.
Yeah.
There we are. Then.
Nicely.
Don't build your part.
Thank you.
And Charlie, thank you very much indeed, Ralph Coombs and Charlie. Thank you, Ralph. That's lovely. Thank you
you.
very much. I don't want to touch that. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you
Fine.
very much.
That's lovely. Ladies and gentlemen, Ralph Coombs and Charlie. Thank you. Over that way, Ralph. You go. It's a difficult night tonight. I could just feel it in my water. Right, what are we going to do? The competition now. I've completely forgotten where we were. Were we not going to get Kooki? Where are you, Cook? Because you're going to do the. You're going to do that poem in a few minutes. It was so successful last week. It was so successful.
Yes.
So get yourself
to
positioned. I'll introduce you in a
Right.
few moments. A couple of weeks ago, Ken Janes from Birmingham won the competition. He's off to the Mediterranean or the Canary Islands. It's his choice. His choice. He can do what he likes. This week, you could be going for 2 people for 1 week, either in the Mediterranean or, of course, the Canary Islands. Which of the following is not a real monkey? On the screen. Is it a spider monkey, a howler monkey, or a cheeky monkey? 0891 48 49 50 is the number to ring, and the lines are open until midnight on Sunday. Now, as I have said, I don't want any more naked flesh on this show. I want Kooki to be completely covered up the whole time. I don't care what they say here or at home. I mean, I think we should really be trying to set new... Don't do that. New style. So I have written this week another poem. Yay! Another poem. And now Kooki, we have a little smoke around it, please. Get this sort of looking good. That's it. And now Kooki is going to read this rendition, which I have written, and it is called simply Rush Hour. Ladies and gentlemen, the intellectual Miss Kooki.
Please, silence, please, please. The bell sounds, the hooter blows, the clock hands point to 5 or thereabouts. Now the time to descend the weary stairs, to embark once more upon the conflict that is rush hour.
Yes! Another masterpiece! Oh, Off! Thank you. Off! I will not have that. Listen, where is it? Can you not keep this audience in, please? Serious bit coming on now.
Behave. We are going to change gear.
You will be beaten afterwards if you don't stop it or before. I'll stop it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please. Now, would you welcome our next guest, who is the MP for Batley and Spen in West Yorkshire, and she has been since 1983. Former PPS to Angela Rumbold at the Home Office, Vice Chairman of the All-Party Group on Solvent Abuse, and a former member of the BBC General Advisory Council. I could do a whole programme with her on that alone. Now, Elizabeth has hit the headlines recently because she would like to help raise the audience profile of the National Lottery, and let's face it, it needs it. And she says that perhaps if you would have corporal punishment inflicted on some of the sort of people probably we have in the audience here tonight, and filmed, please, and filmed and put on television during the National Lottery, it would be a very good idea. Please, would you welcome Elizabeth Peacock, ladies and gentlemen. Elizabeth, thank you very much indeed for coming. Please, thank you. Now, be quiet. OK, now, Elizabeth, when I heard this, it was Jerry Hayes, I have to tell you, who brought it to my attention first of all. I'm serious now. Shut up, OK, or we'll clear it. No, but just be quiet a moment. And I couldn't believe you said that, but you actually, you must have said it for publicity, to get yourself on programmes like this and, dare I say, the Jimmy Young Show, amongst other things.
No.
You didn't?
No. It wasn't a throwaway remark. It wasn't something that I just tossed out for people to listen to. It came after some very serious thought over many years, and also looking at what the Americans are now proposing.
Following the Americans is not necessarily a good idea, I don't think.
No, I would agree. Occasionally.
OK, let me quite seriously put to you, what your idea is that you think that we should bring back corporal punishment, that we
Yes.
should televise it, and it should be put on television peak time at weekends to make people realise what could happen to them.
I didn't exactly say all that in that sequence, but I do believe we should have a punishment for mindless violence that would involve strokes of a cane, so that the perpetrator of that mindless violence feels some pain themselves. And what I suggested we should do is look at what St. Louis County are considering, and they're considering doing just that on primetime television so that it has maximum deterrent effect.
But it doesn't. I mean, the whole thing is that America is a very violent society, and that their violent ways of treating some crime doesn't seem to have had any effect at all.
I'm not sure that that is so. However, if we look at how we have treated mindless violence and other criminals over the last 20 to 25 years, the softly approach has not solved our problem either.
It's a bit of an old chestnut, I know, but I mean, a lot of the problem seems today to stem from the fact that there's nothing much for people to look forward to. I mean, gone are the days of jobs, careers and things like that. Even when you were going into the bank or insurance, and people used to think those were jobs for lives, no more.
No, that's true. However, don't let's insult all those who don't have jobs, who don't resort to mindless violence. We cannot put everybody in that category.
Yeah, but there's only a small minority of people who behave like that, Elizabeth.
Yes, there are. And there's only perhaps a very small minority of that small minority who might be unemployed.
Do you honestly think, I mean, we've seen that the violence on television actually encourages more violence. They've
Really?
actually said
Are
that
you
it
admitting that?
Well,
No one else
there's
does.
no violence here, but it does. People get the idea. If you're going to actually have real physical violence on television, rather than try and deter people, what you're going to do is make people anti the state even more.
I'm not sure. In fact, I've often said that violence on television does have an effect. Television is a great medium. It can educate children and young people. It can also teach them other things.
I mean, I have to be quite honest with you. If it didn't have an effect, would people be buying advertising? So, of course, it has to have a certain effect.
Yes, of course
you're right.
it has an effect. But I think what has happened with the headlines, because of what I said, it's been taken out of all context. And I was talking about a very serious punishment for mindless violence. People leap out of the woodwork and talk about human rights and this. Nobody has any sympathy for the human rights of the elderly lady who's beaten within inches of her life in her own home.
I think they do. I think you're misjudging
sure.
the mood of the people. But, I mean, are you honestly saying that you think people are actually going... Sorry, did you want to carry... Well, of course. Do you...
People on television, that's barbaric.
Many of my
Third
clients,
world countries.
Many of my clients would love to be seen as heroes on television, being whacked and
As a
standing up to
solicitor?
it. As a solicitor,
Okay.
yeah.
I mean,
They'd
the thing is...
All right,
Elizabeth,
I
surely-
accept that. Well,
Yeah.
we'll do it quietly behind closed doors. But I am interested in having a sentence in which the mindless young violent thugs feel some pain
It won't...
themselves.
Honestly, when a young thug, if you want to call them that, or I can't think of another, goes out on the street and they want to get involved in fights, they realise at the time that they're quite likely to come off the worse, and sometimes they do. I think they do.
No,
I
they
don't
don't.
think they'd be worried
There
one
is
iota about it.
absolutely no deterrent in our criminal justice system. Absolutely not.
Baz Bamigboye just shouted out from the corner over there. He said, you're turning the country into a third world country.
No,
and I mean,
no.
will we be cutting people's hands off?
Well,
and-
in fact, if I was going to suggest that we should look at what happens in the Middle East, where if you are caught stealing, you have a hand chopped off. I understand, although I've not travelled in the Middle East, you very rarely see anybody minus 2 hands. Now, if that's not a deterrent, what is?
So would you be quite happy to see people walking around this country, considering the state the national health is in at the moment, without hands?
I'm not suggesting that. And in fact, I think the National Health Service would cope very well anyway. But that is not what I'm suggesting. All I'm using that as an example of a
All
deterrent.
right, one last question. If you felt that this would go through as law, which I'm sure you don't feel, and I'm sure nobody at home watching and people in their heart of hearts know and don't want to go through, if you thought
they
it would
do.
go through,
Oh, they do.
would you be happy with that?
Yes, I really would.
Elizabeth Peacock, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much indeed. Right, I think we now go for a little bit of music. I think that's what we'll do. Singing her own composition, Loneliness, please, would you welcome first time on television, Miss Jane Vaughan.
My days are empty and so alone. In a world of loneliness, looking out for love. You are the smile upon my face. No one could ever take your place. I long to hold you once again. You are the sun that shines so bright. You turn darkness into light. Love so pure, love so kind, the greatest gift to all mankind. I long to hold you once again. I won't give up. Through the clouds, I see the sun, and I'll keep holding on. I'll never let go. If I could turn the hands of time back to the days when you were mine. Love so pure, love so kind, the greatest gift to all mankind. I long to hold you. I long to hold you. Just one more time as we did then. I long to hold you once again.
Thank you, Jane Vaughan. And Jane gave me a little note here. It said, unsigned, unplugged, unloved, singing an original song, Loneliness. I don't think for long. That was delightful.
Thank you very much.
You're not American, are you?
No.
No. Real country. And this is Alan, and you'll be back again
Yes.
a little later on.
Thank you.
Just before we go to the break, which of the following is not a real monkey? Is it a spider monkey, a howler monkey, or a cheeky monkey? And you could win a holiday for 2 people for 1 week on the Canary Islands or at the Mediterranean. All you have to do is ring us on 0891 48 49 50 and join us again in part 2 when Peter Tatchell will be here. Thank you. Welcome back. A little letter for you from Steph, who wrote him. He said, over the past few shows, my attention has been increasingly drawn to a thing of some beauty which has graced, albeit subtly, the set, and I desire it. Now, I have to admit that I thought she was talking about Jerry Hayes, but no. She was talking about my pen. She says, can I have the pen? You have it with you all the time and never write with it. It's my comfort blanket. It's like my dummy. I suck it when we're off camera. Thank you very much. You can't have it. Okay. Now, my next guest has been described as, and although when you meet him, I always think what a charming man he is, as the most odious man in Britain. They've called him a blackmailer. They've said that he's done it because he was upset that he never got into the House of Commons. But let's find out what the real reason is, and in fact, what he's saying, because every time he's appeared on television recently, all I've seen is hysterical men and women shouting and jumping up and down. So let us keep our cool and find out. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Peter Tatchell. Firstly, I've also heard, Peter, that you've had a number of death threats over what you've been saying as well.
Yes, but, you know, so what? I mean, I'm standing up for what I believe is right. If that's the consequence, too bad.
Let's go through it and find out what exactly you do believe. First of all, a number of MPs, I think it's 20, have received letters from you threatening to reveal that they are or are not, well, they are, you say, gay.
That's not true.
That isn't true.
The target of our campaign is hypocrisy and homophobia in the House of Commons. You know, we're not going to out any ordinary lesbian or gay person or any MP who doesn't harm the gay community. It's only those who are behaving hypocritically, those who condemn homosexuality in public while themselves leading private gay lives. Now it's the hypocrisy that we're concerned about.
Because I was having an argument beforehand, people saying, oh, you know, people's sexuality is their own thing, you know, nobody's asking you to prove whether you're a heterosexual or so what you're saying is you're not interested in exposing somebody's, if you'll excuse the term, sexuality, unless they are lying about it.
Or they're behaving hypocritically by denouncing, attacking lesbian and gay people, or supporting policies which harm the gay community. For example, MPs who voted against an equal age of consent for gay men while themselves being privately gay, that in our view is inconsistent, it's hypocritical, and it's homophobic. And why should we sit back and do nothing while they're hurting other gay people?
Now, the 20 letters that you sent out to people, are these people who you feel have been hurting or just people that you think might be interested in thinking more about what they're doing?
Well, the letter is just an attempt to ask the MPs to think about coming out. We're not threatening them, we're not issuing ultimatums, we're simply saying it's important that lesbian and gay people are visible and honest in public life. It's not a good idea to be untruthful and lead a double life. Chris Smith and Michael Brown have come out. They're two very brave, courageous MPs. Why don't a few more follow their positive example?
Chris Smith has actually said, he's Labour's gay shadow heritage spokesman, he's actually called your antics misguided.
Well, I think, you know, every time people come along and shake up the establishment, of course, you know, feathers get ruffled and people don't like it. But I think in retrospect they will see that what we're doing is quite reasonable, and MPs should be honest about their sexuality.
So you're saying that people do, let's just clear this up once and for all, that people who are not necessarily open about being gay, because somebody may not, for all sorts of reasons, be prepared to talk openly about their sexuality, you wouldn't question the right to keep your sex life quiet. All you're questioning is the people who say one thing and then do another.
Yeah, the people who do not practice what they preach.
OK, one of the most damning criticisms about this, I think, was about the Ulster Popular Unionist MP Sir James Kilfedder, who unfortunately had a heart attack and died. Apparently people said this was as a result of receiving one of your letters.
Well, the letters to MPs were sent back on the 28th of January. That was nearly 2 months ago. So, I mean, the idea that there's any connection is absurd and quite distasteful.
Do you not feel that it could have caused him a great deal of stress and it could have taken a couple of months? Do you not feel any sort of remorse about that?
Well, we're not confirming or denying who we sent the letters to, because to do so would be to out the MPs. So we're not saying whether he got a letter or not. This was a private and confidential letter. We were leaving the decision up to the MPs themselves.
Do you feel, you sent these letters to the MPs' homes. Some of these MPs are, I believe, married.
No, it was sent to the House of Commons.
They've only been sent to the House of
Commons?
Yes. OK.
And they were marked strictly private and confidential.
Why then has there been so much hysterical sort of outrage, to use your own term, by people going on about this, you're acting as a blackmailer, if on the face of it, and what you're telling me is the truth, then it seems fairly reasonable to suggest to people that they might be truthful about their sexuality.
Well, exactly. You know, the church, the state, everybody says you should be honest and truthful. We're simply taking them at their word. We're saying, OK, yes, if you think we should be truthful, why don't you act truthful?
So you'll say here, quite categorically, that you will not out anybody at all. You will not, if somebody refuses to sort of admit themselves that they are homosexual, and that they have been voting against what you consider to be laws that would help the gay community, you will not out them at some future time.
No, we won't out any private individual under any circumstances. We won't out public figures who are supportive of the gay community and do not oppose equal rights. The only people we might consider outing at some point in the future are those who vote for laws which discriminate against lesbians and gays and cause pain and suffering.
Right. So,
because if we didn't out them, what we'd effectively be doing is like colluding with their hypocrisy and with their homophobia.
How do you feel about those people who have families and a lot of people who have nothing to do with this particular issue who are going to be affected? It must upset you. You must have some thought about that.
Well, I think it's very easy. If an MP doesn't want to be outed, they should simply cease supporting anti-gay laws. It's as simple as that. Then there'll be no risk of them being outed.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Peter Tatchell, thank you. We move on now to Mr. Jerry Hayes, and I just walk with it over here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
It's the mob from Harrow.
And these are your voters? Are these your...
No, they're Harrow.
Sure? Oh, right, OK, fine. No. Now, as I'm... Would you shut up just a moment, please?
Just a moment.
Goodness sake.
We'll send Mrs. Peacock after you later.
You wish. Now, what about the stalking? Is this stalking horse ever going to materialise? And is, as I have heard in the corridors of power, particularly the toilets of the House of Commons...
You've been there again, have you?
Is it likely... He does himself no favours, this man. Is it likely to be you?
Well, the stalking horse.
I can't see you as a horse myself, but...
It is the right wing of the Tory party, the ultra-right wing, the disgruntled ministers who are sacked through incompetence or disloyalty. Who
that
just
doesn't leave many of the Tory party, does it, really?
No, but they're doing this little whispering campaign. Are they going to support Michael Portillo? Are they going to support Imelda Marcos? I mean, whomsoever is
Imelda
their whim.
Marcos is not at this particular moment, although I've heard in the future there's a possibility, with the Tory party.
Yes, I know. But the sort of people that they would actually... Oh, there's a titter over there.
Control yourself.
Yeah, but no, it's just not going to happen. It really isn't, because the opinion polls are totally different from the time when Thatcher went, when Thatcher was got rid of. I do wish people in the water would shut up. Wouldn't you, James? Don't you think a little bit of behaviour
No,
would
I
be
thought
helpful?
they were behaving very well.
Oh,
you just have nothing as usual to say, that's
talking.
all.
They were talking.
You're just...
I'll give you that one.
OK,
I'll give you that one.
all right. What about the local elections?
The local elections.
Do you want to just go over that? And OK, fine.
Well, the local elections are going to be interesting, and of course, you know, people will vote in the way that they wish. Because of election law, we can't really talk about local elections. That's
one question,
Gary
though, to let you go, because you know I know you want to get back to warming the audience up and quieting them down. One question: when you see
yes, I know.
He's been very quiet. Hasn't Baz been quiet, guys? Very quiet. Baz been very quiet. Yeah. One last question: you cannot possibly be happy with the way the education fracas is continuing. And you cannot possibly be happy about the way the nurses feel. You, as a human being, never mind a politician, can't be happy about that.
Right, can I try
let's listen to this.
Let's try and answer. I'll try and answer. Whoa. John, thank you, Baz. There are two areas here. Firstly, education. We actually increased education spending by 1.3% above inflation.
Okay,
at
so
the same
why
time, no. Yes, you asked.
I'm being assaulted.
You asked the question. You asked the question. He asked the question.
Okay,
he asked the question.
1.3%
above inflation. 1.3% above inflation. At the time when local authorities to spend on education have got an extra £1.4 billion. They should spend that's an education, and that's what we're saying. And it'll help our kids and help teachers. The nurses pay was not settled by government. It was settled by a public review body, which we accepted. They have a chance of getting more money through local government.
Do you honestly believe that 1 or 2, maybe even 3% of a very low wage is enough? It's not, is it? Do you believe it is?
Something.
Are you happy with the crumbling walls of our schools?
It was recommended by the public pay review body, not the government.
Ladies and gentlemen, name me.
I agree with you.
Jerry
I'd love
Hayes.
to see the nurses.
Jerry
paid more,
Hayes.
but it was
That's
the
it.
pay
All right,
review
Jerry.
body.
Next time. I would like to go further about this. We don't have time because you didn't, as usual, answer the questions. But we'll talk either of them. But I'd rather look at Jane Vaughan because she's prettier than you. Well, here she is with confusion.
Please stop confusing me. You've blinded me, I can't see. This comes to me as no surprise. You're feeding us with all your lies. Your persistence, your commands, sabotage, manipulate our minds. So tell me who's wrong, who's right. It's never black or white. Well, I just can't make up my mind. The contradictions of life cut right through like a knife. I just can't make up my mind. Nobody wants to apologize. You see, it's up to us to make up our own minds. Under pressure all the time. Where lies the truth behind the lies? So tell me who's wrong, who's right. It's never black or white. I just can't make up my mind. The contradictions of life cut right through like a knife. I just can't make up my mind. Please stop confusing me. You've blinded me, I can't see. Please stop confusing me. You've blinded me, I can't see. So tell me who's wrong, who's right. It's never black, never white. I just can't make up my mind. The contradictions of life cut right through like a knife. I just can't make up my mind. I just can't make up my mind. I just can't make up my mind. I just can't make up my mind.
Jane Vaughan and her own composition called Confusion. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Right, before the break, OK, which of the following is not a real monkey? This is the reason for the question. Actually, it's a little tenuous because you didn't use the monkey in the first bit, did you? But this is the monkey. Which of the following is not a real monkey? Spider monkey, howler monkey or cheeky monkey? Call us on 0891 48 49 50 any time till midnight on Sunday and you could be on your way to the Mediterranean or the Canaries. I thank you.
to say you think that you are real? You out there in the night think you are real? No, the only reality is the Queen and me. You out there don't exist. It's me.
There we are indeed. Classic Kooki. Classic Kooki. Classic Kooki with Alan Seabright. Alan, who is actually giving a performance at Covent Garden, or during the Covent Garden Festival at the Theatre Museum in London, if you get a chance to come down.
In
and
May.
It's on May the 13th, which is our joint birthday.
It is.
If you want to send cards. And it's half sold out already. Yeah. It'll be fully sold out now. So ring first of all. Thank you both very much. And Kooki. You're what? She's taking bookings.
I'm taking her home.
I'm wearing my own cock.
Very good. Let's hear it again for Alan and Kooki.
Bravo!
Oh, such hilarity.
What high culture.
Oh dear, 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 dear. Now, what are we going? They love you. You got your fans in here tonight? I didn't know you had a fan club. Here's Baz with the hot gossip. What are we talking about first of all?
They're good, lads.
Baz, of course,
Well,
you'd like to disassociate
on
yourself with anything that the audience may say, of course.
to the movies.
Yes.
Thank
right.
God I can't blush. Ever-loving...
You're doing quite a good job, actually.
Ever-loving Muriel Heslop. In a sparkling performance. By Toni Collette. She's in this movie from Down Under called Muriel's Wedding. This is about an ugly duckling from, forgive me, Purpose Spit.
Purpose Spit?
Yes, probably pronounced something else. She's unemployed, she's unloved, she comes from a dysfunctional family, and she wants to get married.
Has she?
She's got nothing going. I think we've got a little clip.
Let's have a look at the clip. Here, right here.
Right, we go.
Muriel, people think we're mad, but that's just us. We're ragers. People invite us to parties and they know we'll just have a good time. We're mad. Party, party, party. That's our image. You know what I mean. We're mad. We don't want you hanging around us anymore.
I didn't steal the dress, it was a mistake.
It's not the dress, it's you. We've told you 1,000 times how to do your hair, but you never listen. You never wear the right clothes. You're fat. You listen to 70s music. This is the 90s.
70s music.
70s music. ABBA. It's very good, actually. It fits, you know, Dancing
Love
Queen.
Rose, Wear My Rose, Marika. It wasn't ABBA, but it's 70s.
Let's not get too carried away. But listen, Muriel's Wedding. It's very funny. Interesting thing about Muriel's Wedding. Thanks, Les from Harry, is that it isn't a formula comedy. Just when you expect it's going to be some naff old sort of typical storyline, it changes. You know, there's a bit of sort of someone dies from cancer, someone dies from God knows what else. It's a different kind of movie and it's well worth going to see. Beautiful performances, I love it.
Why is Australia coming through? I mean, not only the soaps and everything else, but now into the movie business. Why is it Australia suddenly become so popular and so fashionable?
Because they take chances. I mean, there's another cracking movie opening this week as well called Once Were Warriors from New Zealand. Brilliant performance by an actress called Maori actress called Rena Owens. Yeah, okay, guys.
It's all right, Baz. I don't think we can
I won't.
No,
well,
no.
good. I can.
Good, fine.
I can.
Discipline is what we need. We shouldn't have allowed Elizabeth Peacock to go so soon.
Yeah, I disagree with all of that, thanks. But
Back
anyway,
to this.
There are other ways of dealing with lads from Harrow. That's what I say. But anyway, Once Warriors, cracking movie, brilliant performances, must be seen.
Thank you very much indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Prince Baz Bamigboye! Would you and Gary like like to change places? Do you think you could manage? Gary, do the, what? Is that all right, Tristram? That's all right, isn't it? Gary's here. Let's go straight into it. Oh,
Well, James, I have been inundated for weeks with a letter, with letters about football. I'm not going to look at them because there's so many of them. They all make the same point. And 50% of them disagree with my view that anyone can mitigate assault by saying it was provoked during the course of football, for example, by racist...
I can't believe
Oh, for God's sake, don't tell me.
What's going on here? Football.
I thought we got rid of you last
We
week.
thought you'd do it.
Like I was lying in bed, I live round the corner, and I've been talking about football, allegations. What are we talking about here?
Well, I'm not talking about allegations against managers because
Eric,
the
sit
like
here,
of you...
sit here, sit there.
Let me do the interview.
Eric,
You
the
sit
pen.
there.
All right, talk to you about
You
football. I
interview
just got
me
to go on.
about football.
Go on.
What do you think about all the allegations? Do you actually believe? I'm being very serious for it. Monster serious for 1 second. Is that
That doesn't
all these
count from
allegations?
last
Don't
week,
you
by the way.
think? Don't you think that they should be proven before they put these in the press? The stories.
Well, I actually don't believe any lawyer believes...
Any good lawyer? Give us a lovely Jewish lawyer.
Excuse me.
Love a Jewish
the
lawyer.
prosecution should not be publicised. I think anyone who is prosecuted should be publicised. But when people are being questioned, I think it's outrageous that television cameras are called in by the police to go and watch people
I believe
pulled
a
out of their
secret
house
arrest,
in the
a
middle of the
monster
night,
secret arrest is
and then
something that
then they
everybody's
go.
there.
Meanwhile, the damage is done.
So you agree with me? You
that
agree?
to me is libel by police. Yes, I
Can
think
we
it's
hang on? Can we
outrageous.
just get? Was that an agreement
Outrageous.
between the two of you there?
No.
Oh, you're not agreeing. You're
No,
not
we
agreeing with
are
him.
agreeing.
Well, we might
He
be
says you
agreeing.
are agreeing.
I don't know.
Yes.
You say you're... Now, which sort of...
I think we agree on that.
We're saying
We
that
agree.
it wasn't right for the press to be there that morning.
It was totally wrong. It was
I'm
outrageous.
agreeing.
They don't go round to anybody else's
Who tipped
house.
him off? The secret
The police.
Well, that's outrageous. Monster outrageous.
Well, of
Are
course
you
it is.
agreeing here or not?
We agree. Monster
You are agreeing.
We
Monster
agree.
agree.
Okay, fine.
We agree on that.
Another question?
But when a man is convicted, he's guilty until an appeal.
Now, again, very quick question. I think the show's beginning to endish. When Cantona was charged and Dennis Wise, the magistrate said he mustn't treat them any differently from any other human being.
Well,
I believe
Cantona-
they were treated differently.
Can I tell you something? In all my years, have never known anybody get 2 weeks imprisonment for a common assault in the way that Cantona did. And I think to try and make an example of him in that case was outrageous. Totally outrageous. And I think that anyone subjected to racial taunt who does a minor offence like that should have been cautioned and no more.
So you both agree now? You both
We're
agree?
agreeing. Monster
agree.
agreeing.
We
Can't
agree.
believe it. Monster
We agree.
Do you want to
agreeing.
squeeze in one letter?
Yes, yes.
Want to squeeze in one letter?
Yes.
There we are.
I've got a letter here from somebody, and this is very, very important. This person was informed by the Department of Social Security that whilst they are a full-time student, they lose their right to income support. I'm afraid to say that that is correct, because to get income support, you must be free to take on any job that comes up that you're capable of doing.
Like
When
an
you
agent,
are a
like an agent,
student,
like an agent.
when you're a student, you can't take work. Therefore, you will lose your benefit. So, if you're going to be a student, bear that in mind. Although, of course, as a student, you don't pay, if you're living in student accommodation, you don't pay the local council tax.
Now, I knew a student who, actual fact, did pay council tax. You're saying he didn't have to pay it?
No, I said if he lives in student accommodation, only occupied by
No, he did-
students
he
and
did live
nobody
in
else,
students'
then
accommodation.
council tax is not payable.
No, that's a good point.
Council tax is not payable. We've got loads more letters here. Would you like to hear another one?
One more
about
letter,
a
one more. James, we do one more letter, James.
Hard
We had
at it
somebody who
all
died
night.
from a
So, and
perforated-
they're getting on very well. And I think it'd be quite nice if they do carry on, because they don't often get a chance to talk. So may I thank all my guests, and particularly this audience, strange audience tonight. Strange audience tonight, as you can see. There we are, that's it. You see them usually at football clubs on Saturday afternoon, but we got them in here tonight. So I'm going to go off now before they go. They're going to carry on with the chatting up. Baz, you ready? Okay, we go. Baz and I go. Have a nice weekend. And join us again on Friday, all right? Okay, bye-bye. Okay, right. Thank you very, very, very much. No, we're going this way. We go this way. We go this way over here. Are we? Okay, fine. Right, okay.